Pull up in motorcades.
Hope you're doing good. So in this short video, I wanted to talk about dopamine and how I believe that it's the single most important threat or obstacle that will probably keep you from doing the things that actually get you where you want to be. Why am I saying that? For those who don't really understand how dopamine works, so essentially it's a chemical that gets triggered when you're anticipating something that you're looking forward to. Okay, something that's exciting. Something could be like taking a beautiful girl out on a date. It could be taking her back home. It could be really closing a really big deal for your business, okay, or your first deal, okay. I remember when I first closed my first client who paid me 4.5K. I was like, oh my god. And the excitement happened before I actually got paid. It didn't happen after I got paid. It was during the anticipation of getting paid. But the issue with nowadays is that on social media, okay, especially if you're watching me, you're probably on social media. The issue is with social media is that in order for the apps to get us addicted, to get us hooked, if you haven't read the book called Hooked, you should read it. You should understand how the 4 stages of getting that, these applications, these tech companies actually use to get us addicted. So there is a trigger. So there needs to be something that triggers you to take action. Okay, so the trigger could be notification. That's why for me, I never have notifications on my phone. I don't get notified when you send me a DM on Instagram. I don't get notified when you send me a message on Facebook. I don't get notified when you do anything, okay? But after the trigger, then they want you to take action, okay? Now, once you take the action, they want to give you a reward. But what they want to do is that they want to turn this trigger to become internal. Okay, so it goes from something external like a notification to something internal, which is, oh, I remember that I was speaking with this person, or I remember that I made this post. Let me go see how many likes I have. Okay, so when you go on Instagram to look at how many likes you have, or how many Instagram DMs you have, or how many comments you have, that's an internal trigger. That's not Instagram triggering you to go check it. Okay, and when they get you to go through these 4 stages. So there is trigger, there is action, there is reward, and there is investment, okay? Investment is you actually building a whole brand on the profile, posting pictures, posting stories, right? Because if you're invested on the platform, well, guess what? It will create internal triggers that make you want to go back through this loop to go see the things and how you're performing on a platform, okay? So there's a trigger, there is the action, and then you anticipate a reward. They're really great at this because the reward is always different. You don't know if you're on TikTok and you scroll up. The reason why you keep scrolling up is because there is a variability in the reward, okay? And that's how they've figured out how to actually get us addicted, okay? But the thing that I want to talk about today is how dopamine, the way that it works, like I said, it's the thing that gets us to act, okay? Most people think that dopamine is triggered when you actually do receive the reward, but not really. Dopamine gets triggered way before you get the reward. So that means that the reason why you keep scrolling on TikTok or on Instagram is because you're getting a hit every time you're scrolling, because you're anticipating to find something that's really cool. And just the anticipation is the reward in a way, right? Because you're getting that chemical to be released, okay? Now, what most people don't understand again is that our brain and our system is a self-regulating system, which means that the more dopamine you get, when it comes to self-regulating, it will actually bring your weight down to compensate for the extra dopamine that you got. So instead of, let's say you're here, this is the baseline, okay? And you get a spike in dopamine, right? But then you keep going up and up in dopamine, right? What ends up happening is when the brain is trying to regulate this high that you got, it's not going to bring it back to the baseline because it has to compensate for the extra hits that you got, okay? It's like just like a drug, right? Like when you smoke weed the first time, you get really high, but when you keep smoking it, you're not as high as the first time. Why? Because you've been conditioned, or your body or your system gets regulated to compensate and try to bring you to the baseline. But what ends up happening with dopamine or with any form of chemical is that it actually, if you take too much, it actually brings you way below the baseline. And that's why for me, in the last few days, right, I've just been, at the end of each day, I've just been feeling drained. I've just been literally, I can't even get myself to read a book, which is insane, right? How can I not? You know, I've read a lot of books in the past, right? But you know, lately I've just stopped literally reading any books. But recently I wanted to like try to get myself to read a book before I go to bed. But no willpower. No, I didn't have anything to push me to read, okay? I couldn't get myself to act, right? And over Friday, I would just decided that before going to bed, I was like, you know what? Let me actually delete these social platforms from my phone. And for the weekend, I will not be going on Instagram. I will not be going on Facebook. I did go on Facebook a few times just to make a few posts, just because, but I'm not necessarily consuming the actual platform. I'm producing on it. I'm not really consuming, okay? That's also a big difference. If you're gonna use platform for your business, don't be a consumer, just be a producer. Let other people consume your stuff, okay? Don't be out there consuming other people, okay? So the last 48 hours, I haven't really been, if I've been on social media, it's probably been less than an hour, okay? And I cannot tell you how good I felt, okay? And it's not about feeling good, like, oh, I'm ecstatic and I'm excited and I'm really happy, but it's just, I was good. I was good with being bored. I was good with just work. Like, you know, on Saturday, I normally try to take a day off, but you know, this time around I did work and I was just one with work. It felt great working, right? I wasn't distracted. I wasn't like looking forward to maybe going on Instagram and seeing, you know, how many of my haters' girlfriends DM'd me, you know. But I was just in the present, and I was just here, and I cannot tell you how much, like, it's a pleasure that you can't really explain. It's like being content. It was just great, okay? But normally when I'm on Instagram or when I'm on social media, and then when I'm making posts, you know, for my business or whatsoever, I'm always like getting dopamine spikes. So what ends up happening is, yes, I'm getting dopamine spikes here, but I have to build, let's say, something really important for my business. But all the willpower is getting sucked here, and all my dopamine is getting spiked here. So what ends up happening is that my system will self-regulate, and then when it comes to doing this, I will have no more dopamine left for me to entice me into acting upon the thing that I need to do, okay? Which is insane, okay? And one of the person that I really heard talk about this, which was pretty funny, right? His name is Chamath. If you don't know him, he used to work for Facebook. He's a billionaire now. He's an investor, and he mentioned something that's really important. He was like, how do you expect to build a really big business with the same brain that is used to instant gratification, right? I'll actually throw in the recording here. Boom.
Slow and steady against hard problems. Start by turning off your social apps and giving your brain a break. Because then you will at least be a little bit more motivated to not be motivated by what everybody else fucking thinks about you. Do you know what I'm saying? It's hard. Think about how all this stuff plays together. How does trying to get, posting your fucking waffles online relate to me starting a business and accumulating capital? This is wiring your brain for super fast feedback. It's the same brain you're using to build a company. Don't think they're not the same. Do you know what I'm saying? No? Yes? No? Yes! Yes, right? You have one brain. So you're training your brain here, whether you think it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not. Acknowledge that these things where you're spending hours a day are rewiring your psychology and physiology in a way that now you have to use to go and figure out how to be productive in the commercial world. So if you don't change this, you are going to get the same behaviors over here. Change this. There's a reason why Steve Jobs was like anti-social media. I am telling you I'm not on these fucking apps. I'm not him by any stretch of the imagination. But I am proactively trying to rewire my brain chemistry to not be short-term focused. I'm telling you they're linked.
So if you just watch what he just mentioned, okay? What essentially he's saying is that how do you expect to build a really big business with the same brain that is used to instant gratification? What essentially he's saying is that how do I expect to build an 8-figure business with the same brain that has been configured to get instant gratification on Instagram, on Facebook, even on my own community on Discord, right? It's impossible. I don't really touch my phone before noon or 1 p.m. during the day. And if I'm on social media, I'm on there for a specific task. I'm not there to consume, I'm there to produce, and I'm there to move my business. And yeah, I think that it's so important, guys. And this is something that is subtle. Like, you don't really notice it, but all of a sudden you're all depressed and you don't know why. Well, the truth is because you've been overdosing on pleasure, right? So how do you expect not to be depressed after that? You're going to be really happy every single time you go on social media, and then you're going to keep chasing the thing that makes you happy or that gives you pleasure. But then the thing is, your system is built by some god, some really genius person, or maybe it's nature, or I don't know who created us, but they were really smart and they made it so that the system is self-regulating. So the higher you go, the harder the fall, you know? So if I can give you one advice is please limit how much time you spend on these platforms, okay? Limit anything that gives you pleasure or that you know that you like to always want to go back and get more. Because if you keep consuming that thing, you will have no more willpower, no more motivation left for you to actually do the hard things. The hard things like creating content. I swear to God, if I had been on IG all day today, I probably wouldn't be making this video because right now it's 11 p.m., right? On a Sunday night. And I could be doing something else. I could be watching a movie right now. I could be listening to some songs right now. But no, I'd rather work, right? I'd rather produce something, right? And yeah, but all I'm trying to say is please be aware, okay? I know you've probably felt it too. I know you've probably felt it, you know, like you have no more motivation left to do the right things. Give yourself a few hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours without using social platforms. And I promise you, you'll be back in the game in no time and you'll actually start enjoying your work more, okay? So that's all I wanted to talk about. Yeah, hopefully this will help you out, help you go back to your baseline and help you know why you're such a lazy person, okay? You're not lazy, you've just been overdosed with pleasure, okay? So yeah, reduce that pleasure, reduce dopamine, go back to your baseline and be content with the present. Be happy even by just sitting down, okay? And then just do the boring stuff, do the boring work, okay? So that's it for this video. Have a beautiful day. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.